Call the meeting to order, please. I'll join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we thank you all for coming tonight. I'll call the meeting to order. It's good to see all these young students here. We're gonna if any additions to the agenda, and right at the top of the second page, after we get done with all of the consent agenda, we will let the sociology class go, and then right after that will be the other two groups, so that they don't have to. You're welcome to stay, but you don't need to. Okay. All right. Any other? Does anybody else have anything to add to the agenda?
May 14th board meeting.
May 14th board meeting minutes, and then we'll put that way at the end on page 1 before we get to the May 14th board meeting minutes. It was a
No,
it was a special meeting, I think.
special. There may be an executive too, but
I think there was a special one too, though.
The only thing on the agenda was the
Okay. Anything else? I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Okay, second? Probably moved in second that we approve the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. We have approved the agenda. Okay, I would like to have a motion to consent agenda. Is there anything you want taken out of consent agenda?
yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
April 9th meeting. April 28th, May 5th. The bills, the audit. Probably pledge securities, since I don't know anything about what that's about. Policy GACG, policy GACA, and policy GBBA.
Say passage of place security.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what she's requesting to be pulled off the consent agenda. So under number 1, approval of board minutes, 1, 4, and 5. Small number 2, approval of bills. Small number 3, audit. Small number 4, pledge security. And then under policies for second reading, 5, 7, and 10. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Then I would then entertain a motion to approve consent agenda for the rest of the items on that sheet.
Did you make a motion for that?
Nope, they haven't made a motion yet.
No, we did, okay.
I'll let you take yours off first. So can I have a motion to approve consent agenda for the motion, everything that was not removed?
So moved.
Second? Okay. All right, so then everything that was not removed, we're gonna go on consent agenda. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we will start with the first one. April board meeting, April 9th, and I need a motion to pass and second before we can discuss. Second? Okay, probably moved to second. We accept the April 9th. Okay, discussion.
Okay, so on page 2, under activity director's report, it should be accept instead of approve.
Anything else?
And then on page 4, the last line, I just think that needs to go below the executive session language, because that was done after. It's just out of order.
Okay. You want that to go in front of the executive session.
No, executive, after executive session.
Okay, yep. Okay, have we good?
Oh, like right before it says like only matters.
Yep.
So this is that.
Okay. Any other discussion? Discussion. All those in favor of accepting the regular board meeting of minutes of April 9th, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Okay, the next thing we pulled off is a special meeting from April 28th. Again, please have a motion.
Also,
Second? Okay, properly moved and seconded. Then we have, we discussed the meeting for April 28th, the special meeting. Discussion.
So again, on page 1, that motion, moved by her, second by Mershon, to say Heidi Keller, should be after the executive session. And I don't know, I'm hoping that some of that can be crossed out of there because it's so redundant. The same thing is said like half a dozen times.
Okay,
but in far as like the enter and the exit.
Well, yeah, it's,
You can discuss that.
yeah, it's just the whole thing is repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Exactly the same wording. Under the facts, it's Tanner V, not Tanner B. That's on page 2, sorry.
Anything else?
Also on page 2, extended contract, it was to give 10 days, not 10 additional days.
10 total days.
And then also, also on page 2, under the lighting grant, the motion was to allow Dr. Lukens to sign a grant application to cover 75% of the lighting project. Not to sign off upon getting 75% of the grant.
okay, is that all? Okay,
That's all.
all right. Any other discussion? All in favor then accepting a special meeting of April 28th, please say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we will go to the special meeting of May 5th. Again, a motion to accept. Second?
Second.
Okay, probably moved second by Vanessa. Discussion on the May 5th meeting.
The only thing I have on there is that I think it's important to note that Mrs. Shimke will continue as driver's ed instructor.
Okay? Anything else?
After resignation.
Yep,
and
yep.
continue.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor then of accepting a special meeting of May 5th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we'd like to have entertain a motion to approval paying the bills. Second? Okay. Glenn James? Motion has been made to pay the bills. Any discussion on any of the bills? Questions?
ACT testing, page 1.
So was your question on the ACT test?
Well, so how does that work, I guess is my question, because I know it's changed. I think it's changed. We're still, are the kids paying for that now, or are we?
Yes, the kids are paying for it. It's just money in money.
So this is our check to,
Yeah.
there's one, hold on. I don't know if you have this on hand, but is the Central Regional Education That's on page 6. So almost 29,000. Which part is that? I mean, how much of the total is that? Or how much do we have left, or?
It says second part, so I think they can pay, usually what we're gonna do, half in the fall and half in the spring.
That's
That's how.
That was how we.
Yeah,
I
I
can't
believe it's
remember
half.
exactly what the total year told us, but yeah, when I see second assessment.
And then the water bill, is this 2-3 months, or what's going on here?
We'd have to pull the bill.
2-3 months, what do you mean, you just think it's a lot?
It's many of them.
I can show you the bills, I don't know how to answer that.
Do you want us to pull the bills for audit purpose, like you would for an audit, and bring it to you at the next meeting?
Well, if it's a couple months, it's fine. It's like they all got paid twice or something. I'm not sure.
I paid them on May 2nd, April 2nd, March 10th. So it's like once a month.
So is
It's a little over 1,000 each
Is this over a month? This batch of bills?
time. Well, I don't have an exact date. I have it written down and like throw it away when I'm done. I mean, we can just look
It
at
would
what
be,
the,
because we have our meeting on
we had a
April 9th.
long interval between meetings, so what I
We
can
had,
do is.
we had an early meeting, I think it was
Yeah.
April 9th.
We've had like.
So I bet you that's what it is, because yeah, we did have an
Double
early
check,
meeting.
though.
I remember that.
But it looks right, so they were.
The reason you have a meeting after the 10th typically is because it allows not a huge payment of the bills packet. And
Since
so
we had them early, I think.
you had it early and then you waited, 6 weeks before you had your next meeting, you have a really big payment of the bills packet.
Yeah.
It allows the board to not have so many bills. That's why you do it that way, but we just had to.
Okay, I see there is a bill here for North Dakota School Board Association, the $1,500 for the web hosting. Is that done?
Yeah, I'm sending them the policies.
No, so we paid for it before.
Yeah, I sent in the contract for it, and they were expecting the cost to be, in June, and like I told you, but then they said they got their costs in early so that we got on the list, so that we didn't, because I told you there was a bunch of schools waiting for it, and we got on the list, so.
Good. Question about Tom's Home Furnishings, but I think that's on, is that on the agenda?
Yes.
I don't know what it's at. Because we didn't vote on that, so. Oh, it's 2024. That's all I guess.
Okay, anything else on the bills? All in favor of paying the bills, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, now we need to have a motion to accept the 23-24 audit.
I'll make a motion.
Your second?
Second.
Probably moved and seconded. Colette and James to approve the 23-24 audit. Discussion.
So it appears that we have new issues that we didn't have previously.
What's the issues?
Well, the pledge of securities for one. And the yes, sir.
And some of the segregation duties, that was the same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because on this page, this management letter indicates that there's some issues with, what's the $6,500 plug? on page 2 of the letter.
I was not present. True.
I'm just asking so we want to make sure we don't have issues that need to be fixed and then we don't address them. The what, the letter?
Yeah, I don't think I printed them.
No. Here it is. The pledge of securities, is that just because we didn't do something that needed to be done, or why is that a?
It's what you're bringing up. You have to just, it's something that you have to pass. The business manager has to bring before the board every single year. And in year 23, 24, the business manager never brought it in front of the board. So there.
Once a year, it has to be brought up and said that he has all the pledged securities in place, the letters from the bank, and we back to the minutes, there wasn't any consent at all in that year, so there wasn't anything.
So during last fiscal year, that the board never had that put in front of it.
Okay, so we're taking care of that. What's with the ESER then?
Where are you seeing that?
I'm on page 37. Question cost of $23,000.
I did see that, I was, page 38, yeah.
38?
Yep, 38, question cost. I think what there is not done, from what I see here, you have the district to maintain supporting documentation for employees' time. Oh, I think that was, we were trying to print out something there to prove it has to be that they actually want to see
Oh, yeah.
whatever you get
I
reimbursement
remember what
for,
that is.
and you had a hard time trying to find as to what was printed.
Well, they wanted like stuff I didn't have. I mean, they wanted supporting documentation for employees' time charged to grants. Like they wanted a physical time card of somebody that works for these grants. But if it's a teacher, I mean, I can't give them that. I don't know what that would be. So I
So-
think I told her we didn't have it. I don't know.
Maybe there would have been some.
Yeah, so when you
or some-
use a grant for documentation, they typically want as much documentation as possible, so.
Oh, and
Say-
this is also possibly stuff that Louisa had, but
Yeah, this is
Right,
all,
it's
this is
all-
all,
It's all that, none of it was.
none of it
but
is.
nobody reached out to her.
I don't know if we had.
I'm not gonna reach out moving on. There's a bunch of stuff I didn't have, so I mean, or I had a hard time finding things or whatever because
Oh.
I mean I didn't know anything that went on. I was in school when it was happening, so I tried my best. I did my best, and
I think it was a really good learning experience for the whole
Well,
group,
and-
just to see,
Right, and that's.
you know, this is why you need this, and this is why we double check things, and this is why we work through this. And, you know, this is the, you know, not every school does an audit every year, but we have a policy that we do an audit every year, and I think it's really good to see the why behind a lot of it. And I think,
So we have to.
no, you don't.
Right.
You know, there are schools that don't do audits every year.
And
I did.
the one with the ESER is done and gone, so that will.
Yeah,
I mean, it
did
also
some
helps for
things.
cost wise, because you won't have that additional,
I sent them all the pay stuff I could because obviously I have those.
like from your payrolls. or
Yeah, I
something.
remember spending 2 hours and at times just printing off pay stubs and sending them to her. But like you see where it says additionally employees time cards. I mean like teachers don't have time cards unless I'm just idiot.
No, we didn't. So like if you, like for reading, the learning loss portion of ESSER, if you could put like the, reading training that the elementary teachers were doing on that. I know we discussed multiple times that we were going to be using ESSER for the teachers' reading classes. So a lot of that, plus if teachers were getting extra classes, some of that was coming off of COVID dollars as well for learning loss. So as far as their time dedicated to that, we didn't collect time cards for their, like if they were driving to Minot for something, we didn't necessarily ask them for a time card when they came back from Minot for the grant purposes.
Anything else? Okay, if nothing else, I have no more discussion, All those in favor of approving the 23-24 audit, please say aye.
Right.
All opposed? Okay, then we need to go, I need a motion to have the pledge security passage. The second? Okay, Harvey moved the second. Any discussion? I think that question was answered, right?
That and I think Zane has to say, like the pledge securities, have you been using them now?
Yeah, I mean, I have them, and anybody can see them at any time, and I mean, it's as simple as like Hanson of the First Aid Gary Hanson. I mean, just an email, say, hey, I have this, and he'll send it to me right away, and then I put it in the back. And
So what are we passing? Because we don't have anything in front of us.
it's just,
We have access to pledge.
yeah, I was told I just have to tell you all what we have. I mean, you haven't seen them. You won't tell me to see them. It's just confirmation that we do have
And
it.
I think it's 2 weeks, for the 2 of them.
I think it's first aid and
Every morning you ask them, God, this is what it
Okay.
was.
Any more questions on that? Any more questions on that? Okay, if there's no discussion, all those in favor then of passing the pledge security 24-25, please say aye. Okay, now we're gonna go to 3 policies that were pulled off. The first one is GACG, Learning Everywhere.
So we pulled that. It's in the minutes that we pulled that last time. We're gonna, I don't remember if we were supposed to take it back to committee or if we're supposed to talk about it today. I don't remember, there's so many, but I do know that we didn't pass it first reading, so I think we're supposed to take it back.
Okay,
And we failed to do that.
so that one needs to go back to committee.
True, right, it did say, we need to bring that one back.
Okay,
But is that the one that we were?
I think we had questions for like somebody, not us, that we.
I haven't got any response back from the school board association, so I thought I would have answers for you by now.
so what I'm hearing then is this one's going to be tabled to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Or table for some time, yeah.
Tabled indefinitely.
you wanna move the table, Nelson? And then we would take a motion to bring it back from the table, it's the same thing. You move to table this?
I'll move to table.
Is there a second to table GACG, Learning Everywhere? Okay, probably moved and second that we table this for further discussion. Discussion. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of tabling this motion, please say aye. Okay, now the next one we're gonna talk about is GACA, correspondence course.
And I may have dropped the ball on this one, but Mr. Haas had talked to me after the last meeting about it and asked that we have it saved.
I think he emailed it.
Oh, yeah, well, we didn't, it still says, yeah, it still says it will be used in determining the GPA of the students, so that needs to be removed.
Right, we'll have to give it, I'll give you a copy of Kelly's thing. Instead of that, on the 1, 2, 3rd paragraph, the last sentence is whether grade will be recorded and will be used in determining the GPA of the student. It should be the grade will be recorded on the student's transcript. So let's make sure that gets changed and then we can do it as the.
Well, you can change it right now, I can change it in the policy and then
Okay.
you can just pass it.
Okay, so let's have a motion to change the wording.
Are we passing it for the first reading then?
You can, yeah, you have to pass the first reading.
Well, we
Change it.
did pass it last time, it was afterwards.
So you just have to waive the second
Yeah, so
motion.
we did pass.
So you're
the
just
first
making a,
reading.
you're
So
just
we're
making an
gonna make a
adjustment on the second
change.
reading.
Make
The
a
way I'm
change.
interpreting this.
You're moving to amend.
Yeah, so let's move to amend,
Assuming it actually gets done this time.
okay? So let's have a motion to amend.
Okay, I will make a motion to amend that third paragraph, remove the second sentence and replace it with the grade will be recorded on the student's transcript.
Will be recorded. Correct? Okay. Is there a second to that amendment?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion, any discussion? All in favor then of the amendment, please say aye. Okay, so then we'll go back and then we'll accept this then as the second reading. So I can have a motion to accept GAC correspondence course on second reading as amended. Okay, is there a second? Okay, probably moved and seconded that we accept GACA correspondence course on the second reading as amended, where it will be recorded. Any discussion? Discussion? Discussion. All in favor of accepting this policy as amended, please say aye. Opposed? Amendment passes. Okay, and we'll go to the last one, which was GBBA, which involves guest speakers. Is there a motion to accept? Second?
Second.
Okay, let's have discussion.
Well, that one we also tabled.
Right,
And then
right, we had tabled that. So, we can, right, so we can look at it now as a first reading, could we, or do we just have to?
Why did we table
we
it?
didn't address the reasons we tabled it, and I'm trying to remember exactly what our point was.
It was having to do, I think, with, the principal having to notify parents. Do we want to be more specific as to, does they have to every time a staff member decides to show a movie in their class, or?
Yeah, I think we were looking, well, this was guest speakers, not movies. We
Yeah,
passed-
that's true. Every time a guest speaker comes in. Okay.
So like there's been guest speakers coming into multiple classes for about 3-4 weeks.
I think we wanted to drill down whether or not it is for like the whole school, or, I think we wanted to define guest speakers. I wondered if we weren't supposed to take it back to policy.
Okay,
So should we do the same thing? Let's do that.
Yeah.
one.
okay, so
I will make a motion to table this one indefinitely for further discussion.
okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, motion passed. All right, that takes care of page one. Now we'll go to page two, and what we're gonna do here is we're gonna let Mr. Ratz, we passed the consent agenda.
We
We passed
passed
the
it.
consent agenda, we did that first. I passed all the consent
You're
agenda
right, sorry,
except this.
you're right.
You good? You good?
Yep, I'm good.
All right, so, Mr. Rath's class, and, they're requesting, as their students, they don't want to be recorded, is that okay?
Okay.
They're requesting that a student